With last week's opening prayer, Sam invited us to notice which room we're in. What does it feel like to be in the little room with all this joy and sorrow, with all this promise and pain, where our emotions, no matter what they are, where our circumstances, our fears, our failures, our successes, all the stuff of our small s selves feels like those walls, the inner walls, are closing in on us. We bump our heads on the ceiling, stub our toes on the threshold, maybe say a few salty words, and in this little room, maybe we know God is there-ish. We know God as concept, and yet it's really hard to feel God in there with us because all of our stuff is taking up all the space. And if we can unlock the door to the bigger room, we may have exactly the same joys and sorrows, pain and promise, all in there with us, but we have room. We have space to remember the all-loving God, the all-everywhere present God, that mystery that goes by 1,000 names and is unnameable. We experience our smallness in a profoundly healing way when it is in perspective of the bigness that we are held in, but we forget. And so this morning, for our meditation, I'm going to invite you into both rooms. Don't panic if you're in the little room. We're not going to stay there for very long. So we begin by just becoming centered, growing aware of your own breath. And as we journey together into this time of shared quiet, you may find yourself latching on to the sound of my voice and then letting it go. It's only there as one of the tools to guide you into your own experience. And wherever you're sitting, feel yourself supported, physically supported, where your body rests. Your eyes can be opened or closed, whatever is comfortable for you. But in any case, letting your gaze soften as your body softens into the support where you are. And now bring back to your heart mind whatever it was that you held that needed healing, or maybe something else that has arisen. As we shared that space of our vision and mission, just briefly allow yourself to feel all of it in the small room. Feel the ceiling right there. Hear the winds of worry or fear or sorrow that are swirling, pressing in on you. Feel that stubbed toe. And now, see that right in front of you is the door. Maybe right around its edges, the light is seeping in from beyond. Take a few deep, cleansing breaths in, letting your whole body feel the inhale and the full exhale. Letting your body and mind soften together in the fullness and release of your own breath. And now, simply open the door and step in to the big room. Look around you at the soaring space. Feel the space you're in expanding with each breath. Feel your joy and your sorrow, your promise and your pain, your success, your failure, all held together right now in this gathering as we hold each other in the quiet expansion of the room that is big enough to hold it all, to hold us all. To center us in communion with each other and with the Holy One alive in each of us in this quiet moment. And taking a moment to breathe deeply again. Bringing yourself fully back into the gathering in this room, in this sanctuary of community that we create together. So there's one key to unlocking the door to the bigger room. Be quiet. It's the key I tend to forget often. But this gathering in the bigger room that we create is also one of the keys. So over the last couple of weeks, as I've explored in front of you my journey to what does it mean to claim the word that I called in at Whitestone, claiming my path of trust, and seeing where I am in this moment just as it is, of claiming my light and shadow. I won't use salty language like it came out last week, but the shadow and the shine. Maybe once a quarter is enough for me to be salty. But the reality is, we each have our own stuff, right? It's the stuff that makes that room feel tight, even if it's good stuff. That we don't have room to remember that whatever we're in, whatever I'm spinning in, isn't the bottom line. I'm inspired by the highest. How do I get there? We practice. We practice. We practice on our own because we each have our own hard work to do to remember how to be quiet, how to listen, how to come into that deeper stillness. It is our own individual work. And we never do it alone. I guess there are a few hermits somewhere on a mountaintop, and they can do that. There is space for that in the world. That is a gift. And most of us live in the mess of communal life. And that's a teacher. So those twin sides, for me, are where I know I need to show up. So here is some inspiration about what spiritual practices are before I get to the inspiration of Philip Goldberg. This is from an awesome website that I have shared before. I'll actually kind of make sure that if I'll do a little PDF from today and link it again. But there's a great website called Spirituality and Practice by Frederick and Marianne Broussard. And here's how they describe what spiritual practices are. And what is at stake with this whole idea? Spiritual practices have always been at the heart and soul of the world's religions. And they are also key elements of today's less organized spirituality movements. They help us discover our deepest values, address our longing to connect with the divine, and propel us on the journey to wholeness, all aspects of spirituality. Spiritual practices are specific activities you do to deepen your relationship with the sacred and the world around you. I would add, thanks to my life with Unity, that they deepen our recognition and awareness of the divine within, of the sacred within, that we forget we house. These practices are simply the things we do that enable us to become actively engaged with that inner self that responds to the highest voice within and without. We're about to embark on a journey as a community. Even if you haven't signed up for a spirit group, there are enough members of this community who are doing that right now that it will have an impact on how we show up for each other. Perhaps this didn't call to you right now, but the call to deepen whatever it means to you to fill up your well. Maybe it's taking a walk with a friend. Maybe it's baking. Maybe it's singing in the shower. What are those things that we do to settle the noise of the little room, to give us space to remember that the key to unlocking that door to the bigger room is always within us? And then we bring those gifts to each other. We have a number of people who have stepped in to facilitate these groups for the first time. They are putting their spiritual practice to the test by stretching their own boundaries of what that little room is in order to invite us into a shared experience. What a gift. We're not here to do it right. We're here to practice on our own and together, and to share the mess and the shine. Philip Goldberg quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 38. Equanimity in gain and loss, victory and defeat, pleasure and pain. Equanimity is mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper. Yikes. I don't always, I might look like I have equanimity at all times. Sometimes I do. It's keeping that, especially in a difficult situation. The key ingredient in a recipe for equanimity is spiritual practice. And in crazy times like ours, we need prayer, meditation, mindfulness, and other practices more than ever. I love the example he gives about people who say, well, I'm too busy, or I'm too riled up about what's going on in the world. I can't meditate. I can't pray. I just have to I have to fix everything. I have to change everything. I have to do it now. And he reminds us, that's sort of like saying, I only shower when I'm clean. I don't need a shower. Only when I'm clean. I don't need to meditate. Only when I'm calm. Deep spirituality. Philip Goldberg reminds us, but spiritual teachers of every age remind us. Equanimity is a byproduct of deep spirituality. And that is a foundation for smart, robust action. An overly agitated mind is prone to mistakes. If we lack a calm center, rage can turn us blind. Spiritual practice not only provides relief, it produces desirable qualities such as composure, compassion, alertness, and resilience. Over time, it can create an inner fortress, a safe haven advantage point for heightened awareness and a staging ground for skillful engagement. The spiritual is practical. I have post-it notes and underlining on those words in here because they are the words that I needed to help me unlock the door to that bigger room. Those practices we explore on our own individual paths are crucial to bring us back to that centered space, where the light seeps through the door and shows us where the handle was there all along. The key was there all along. But we don't do that in isolation because there is no separation from myself or spirit or others. There is no us and them. And yet we have our own unique path in that paradox. We don't need to do it alone. If you're inspired to join us as a community on this journey, there is still room in some groups. You can go to the website and sign up that way, or you can simply email me and let me know. We'll get you plugged in to a group that works for you. But even if you don't have that in your house right now, I invite you to pay attention to what practices invite you into that centered space. Can you dance your prayers? Can you cook your prayers? Can you just sit and notice the noise in your own mind like I do when I sit in my morning quiet time? Some mornings, all I'm aware of is that voice chattering away. That's why it's a practice. Again, from Philip Goldberg. I suggest you give the practices a fair chance to work and evaluate them objectively. As the subtitle of this book suggests, they should help you cultivate and maintain, or maybe just recover more quickly from. That's my little editing. Because there's a gift in that too, the quicker recovery time. They should help you cultivate and maintain calmness, clarity, and courage in the midst of crazy times. Beyond that, keep your eye out for enhanced compassion and empathy, a clearer mind, greater resilience and equanimity, deeper connections with others, a stronger sense of wholeness, a whole lot less to fear, and a heightened capacity for love, all of which will give you a sturdy anchor in the crazy whirlwind we have to navigate every day. That's the key to navigating into that bigger room. So however you are called to practice, we hold each other in that practice. Simple ways to land you in that space where you remember you are light. You are light. There is no right or wrong way to practice remembering you are light. There are only things that bring us closer to that and things that sometimes make us forget. We are light. We are love. There is room for our shadow and our shine, for the realness of who we are and who we bring to each other. So join us in this gathering in the bigger room as we explore what it means to us to step in, to choose love, to choose trust, to choose peace, despite what everything looks like from the vantage point of that little room. May it be so, and so it is. Amen.